Welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Lives. And I am here to, I have no guest today. I have just myself because I have a topic that is related to transformation, but it's me. It's myself, me, myself, and I. And I wanted to share it because it's been super transformational in my life, and I'm only in day 10. And so I am so excited about it that I wanted to immediately, as soon as I had some results, to get on to my show and explain what I'm doing and how amazing I feel. So first of all, I want you all to know that I think we always are, um, you know, we're always on a journey, and we're always trying to find, and get into the perfect headspace, weight space, all of that, right? But it's a constant journey and exploration, and there are always setbacks. So like valleys, mountains to climb, and then you get in valleys, and then so it's not just a straight and level plane that you walk. And so um, I've had I had gotten the best shape of my life at age 55, and I've talked about that. But that was, gosh, 5 years ago, and I've gained weight and lost weight since then. On a couple of occasions. So, but as I headed into 2019, I was at a weight that I hadn't been at since I was pregnant with my kids. I gained 30 pounds when I was pregnant with my kids. And so you can imagine how much, now back in my 20s, I weighed like, well, at one point I weighed like 115. So I was much thinner than I am now. Good weight for me now is like mid 130s. So I was 152 pounds when I started in January, with a goal to get back into like the 135 range. So I had a lot of work to do. 17 pounds. While some might think that's not a lot, it's going to take a while. And so what happened is I started to have these really weird stomach problems, and I've never had stomach problems. Like I didn't have acid reflux, but, well, I will say I did have a weird stomach thing happen a few years ago, and I went to the doctor and they did a blood test, and I ended up with H. pylori. And I don't know if you've ever had it, or heard about it. You can Google it. It's H. pylori, and it's a bacteria that gets in your, stomach lining. And I just felt like I had these little things eating away at the edge of my stomach. And you can get it. A lot of people have it and don't know it, but you can get it in a third world country from eating off of dirty utensils. And so, and it's also contagious. So I don't know where I got it, honestly, because I think I'm pretty clean. But my mother-in-law had it, and so I don't know if some way we shared, a kiss or something. I don't know, but there's medicine, and it cleared up pretty quickly, and I haven't ever had any problems before or since. Now, I used to have a lot of digestive problems, like constipation and bloating stomach, but that was always lower. It's like under my belly button or above my belly button, and above my belly button is my stomach area. And so I went to the doctor and the one weird thing is that my grandkids had just been in town, and they had the flu. So I never got the flu like they had it. The throwing up and diarrhea was terrible. But I did start having really bad intestinal pains after they left. And so I don't know what happened, but when I went into my doctor and I explained what I was going through and that my grandkids had just been there, my doctor said, well, what can happen is that an adult can manifest a child's illness differently. And from what you're telling me, it sounds to me like you got it, but it just manifests itself in a different way in your body. And I was like, that's interesting. And so, okay, I get that. So in a couple weeks, I'll be better or whatever. I didn't know what the time frame was to expect, but I was just thinking, they got better pretty quickly, so I'll get better pretty quickly. And so time went on, and I started kind of getting worse. I wasn't feeling good. So I went back to the doctor, and they decided to put me on medication, which I can't remember, Prilosec, but it's an it's for acid reflux. What is that? So it's a heartburn, acid reflux. It's a drug to control that. But I was like, but I really don't have that. I mean, I have these weird stomach things. I think they were thinking maybe ulcer, but they wanted to see if the medicine would work. And so it was one of those medicines where you take it for like 6 weeks, and then maybe you take it longer if it's working. But if you want to get off it, you have to wean yourself off of it. So after I was on it for and you kind of wean yourself on it as well. And so after I was on it for about 6 weeks, I felt a little bit better. And I'm one who, if I'll go off if I think I'm better, then I don't need the medicine anymore. So I'll go off of it. So I weaned myself off of it. So I was on that medicine for about 10 weeks. And I really am not an advocate of prescription medicine. And so I'd rather figure out natural ways to heal myself. And so I went off of it, and, I went along. I would say I wasn't normal, but I wasn't as bad as I was in, say, March. And so, you just get busy with life, and you keep doing, and it kind of becomes a new normal. It's just like your stomach is kind of different degrees of hurting, but sometimes it's worse and sometimes it's not as bad. And so that was kind of my new normal. I did go back and have another H. pylori test, and that was negative. And then, in the meantime, I was also trying to lose weight. Remember that 17 pounds I was trying to get off? So what happened is, I was struggling with getting the weight off. And I am always a little hard. The weight doesn't come off of me as easily as it does some people. I tend to, it's a really good week if I lose like 2 or 2.5 pounds. And they say the average to lose per week is like 2.5. I mean, 3 is like the max. So between 2 and 3 pounds would be amazing. But I was kind of fluctuating. I was going down a couple pounds, coming up a pound. The most I was able to get down was, I believe, on my like maybe 5 or 6 pounds. And that's in like 9 months, people. That's like 10 months. I like, you think I could do better than that. Now, granted, I wasn't perfect on my diet all the time. It wasn't like I've been eating, kale and carrots for 9 months. I've been enjoying, but you can eat, you can lose weight and still drink a glass of wine, have a treat. You can still do that. I learned that when I did the 2B Mindset nutrition program. So anyways, I was really frustrated. And then my daughter got wind of this crazy, I'm going to show you, for those of you that can see me on video. If you're only listening to the audio, I have a book in my hand, and the book is called The Plan. And the plan, the little tagline says, eliminate the surprising healthy foods that are making you fat and lose weight fast. So, and I just want to say that those of you who follow me know that I was a Beachbody coach for 5 years, and I still enjoy the products. I mean, I still have my discount. I still enjoy the products. Honestly, they, I think, Shakeology is one of the best things out there, and the exercises are great. So I have tools available to me. They have a couple of nutrition plans that are great, but things weren't working. And so I am like, okay, there's got to be, something else that I need to be a scientist. I need to figure this out. I need to be my own advocate. We all need to do that for ourselves. If something in our body isn't right, we need to start asking questions. You need to ask friends. You need to go out on the internet and ask people, go on Facebook. But this book, the concept behind this book is that we are all unique beings. A lot of diets are cookie cutter, one size fits all. And maybe just you eat different calories or different levels depending on your weight. But this is you basically have to figure out what foods are unfriendly to you. So they call these foods, so all of us react differently to different foods. So some people, it presents itself as an allergy. Allergy, yes, I break out in hives, or, I have trouble breathing. That's an allergic reaction, which is severe. But most of us have a similar thing happen, but it's just not that severe. So, but it's happening internally to us. And so how it manifests itself is through inflammation in our body. It could be some kind of stomach pain. It could be some kind of extreme tiredness. It could be different things. So it's a matter of eating and testing and journaling and really listening and feeling your body as you're going through this. So, and there are some foods that are highly reactive. Salmon, which I eat a lot of, is highly reactive. Now, I'm not saying I haven't tested salmon yet. So, because I'm early in the program, you test the more or less reactive. You test more of the less reactive foods in the beginning, and then as you start getting more into it and having passed several tests, then you start testing the more highly reactive foods. So the menu, of course, consists of, in the beginning, those foods that for most of the majority of people are low reactive. And then some are more highly reactive. And so it's very, very interesting to me because we all react differently. An example that was given in the book was this woman ate almonds for a snack every day. And after she went off almonds, and then it was the day to test the almonds again, she had severe stomach pain. And so it was like, oh my gosh. And that means, and almond milk is one of the more highly reactive things, and I drink almond milk every day. So there's all these things that I'm learning that I had no idea, that I am holding on to this weight potentially because I am eating foods that my body, that are causing inflammation in my body. And so I thought I wanted to know more. Honestly, I wanted to know more. I wanted to explore. And so I got this book, which is $9.99 on Amazon. It's a paperback book. And when I bought it, I could not do right away. You start with a 3-day cleanse, and then it's kind of a 20-day program where you go through the 20 days following her meal plan, and then you are testing as you go. And then you go off you basically just start doing your own menus after the 20 days, and then you continue to test more food. So I decided to go ahead and start right after I started on December 9th. And the reason why is I knew that Christmas was in there, and so that was going to be a little disruptive for my 20 days. But I knew that I didn't want to wait. I wanted to start my research. And so what I love about this too is you can stop and you can have a crazy day if you want, like a Thanksgiving turkey day, with some pie. And then you get back on it, you get back to, like, now I know, because today I completed, today's day 10, but I completed my 11th day. And so of eating, because it's nighttime when I'm doing this recording. So I have a healthy repertoire, if you will, of foods that I know are friendly foods. So she calls, you have two kinds of foods. You have reactive foods and you have friendly foods. And you want to find as many friendly foods as possible. But the great thing about this program is that you eat until you're full. Can you imagine eating until you're full? Now, it's not like potato chips, although one of the days a snack is potato chips. But it's make sure the sodium content is below 70 grams. And it's very tricky because I was looking at labels yesterday and I was looking at two different, look for one that's maybe no salt chips or very low salt. But if you look at the ingredients, I was looking at one label and it was under 7. It was basically, I don't think it had any grams. It was no salt. And 1 ounce is a snack and 1 ounce was 20 chips. And I was like, wow, I could get these chips and I could have 20 of them for a snack. And then I looked at another bag and I think the bag said low sodium. I'm not sure. And it had 60 milligrams. But if you look at the label and you really read it, it only allowed you 10 chips. So there was much more sodium in them, but they were dividing the servings in half from what like the other bag was. So you have to really pay attention. She gives you guidelines on, what to look for. So it was helpful to know that I needed to limit it to 70 milligrams. But I want to tell you that I have lost, now, mind you, I have the most I lost over that 10-month period is like 5 pounds. And when I started this on December 9th, I was only down 3 pounds from my original weight in January. So that meant I was 149 when I started this. And when I'm happy to report that when I weighed in this morning, so I have my journal. When I weighed in this morning, I was 142.6. I mean, how crazy is that? 6.4 pounds I've lost, if I did the math right, in 10 days, because that weight was from this morning. So in 10 days, I've lost 6.4 pounds when it's like, I'm happy if I lose like 2.5 a week, and I'm not even done with the week yet. So I know I will probably be at like 8. So I'll probably be like 4 pounds a week with this. But basically the theory is that you are supposed to, if you're eating per plan, lose, and you're eating friendly foods, you lose 0.5 pounds a day. You lose a half a pound a day. And I did. I lost the first 4 days, I lost 5.2 pounds. So, and then on the 4th day, I'm trying to think. I have my journal so I can look at it. So I lost every day until the day, was it day 5 or day 6? But I had a setback because I went away for an evening overnight. And I stayed with my daughter and we went to a concert, a Hanson concert. And I was off plan. And I will tell you, I packed a really good cooler of all my stuff. But the problem is that we had to leave before dinner. And I ate per plan on the day we went to the concert, but I skipped dinner because we had to leave too early. And when we got home late, it was around 11:30 p.m. She went to the refrigerator and made herself dinner. And she said, "Do you want dinner?" And I was like, "No, I don't want dinner." I didn't want to eat late because you're supposed to not eat and drink water late into the evening. Not a lot of people eat too late. And so I went to bed. And I woke up the next morning. I had gained a pound 1.4 pounds. So not eating enough can be as harmful as you know, eating the wrong things. And so I also had wine, but you're allowed to have wine on the plan. Starting on day 4, you're allowed to drink red wine. And I had red wine. So, so that was not a good day. So these are things that you test along the way. So I gained 1.4 pounds. And then the next day I got back on plan with all of my friendly foods and I lost the 1.4 pounds. So that was amazing, because that's another thing, is I never lose 1.4 pounds in one day. And it was clear that my body was inflamed. And so it was kind of a little bit of an artificial thing, but I got back on track the next day. And so, and then I had another day where I had 0 gain or 0 loss. And I had tested lamb that day. And so lamb must be a reactive food to me. So you test the individual proteins differently. Chicken I passed, steak I passed. And so it's very interesting how this all works. And so I might retest lamb, because I think there was something else I did that day that was different. So you just really want to introduce one different thing each time, and not 2 different things, because then you don't know which thing it is, and then you got to retest both of them. So that is really the essence of the plan. And it's funny because even though you're following her meal structure, and she basically says it's chemically balanced, so don't be switching around like the one day for the other day. Stick to that day's menu. She says you can swap lunch and dinner things, with the exception of soup. She doesn't want us to drink soup or eat soup at dinner. I don't know why. She doesn't really explain that, but she said that. But the soups are great. Oh my gosh. They're homemade, they're easy to make, and they're so filling and so good. The first 3 days, I will say, were very tough because your body's detoxing, and I had a bad headache the first day. And the second day I couldn't stand it anymore. So what I did is I took Tylenol, and it helped a ton. And she says you can take Tylenol. She said not to take ibuprofen, not take Advil. I don't know why. I think she says that it's more inflammatory, which I thought was weird, because I thought ibuprofen reduces inflammation, but what do I know? I'm learning a lot. And then I got a really bad backache, and I had that. I'd done a 3-week detox or cleanse about 2.5 years ago. And I remember, like, on day 4, I started getting a really bad backache, and the backache subsided after about 2 or 3 days. But that's your body just getting rid of the shit that's in you, is really what it's doing. It's all these things are coming out quickly of your body because you're eating such amazing food. And it's your body's just like, what? And the other thing that I did not realize with detox is I had a cold, but I thought I was over it. And all of a sudden I started getting really stuffy nose and congested. And I was like carrying literally a Kleenex around. I had to blow my nose that much. And what I started Googling, because my daughter said you're detoxing, that's part of it. And so I read about detoxing and the symptoms, and sure enough, congestion and nasal snot is your body expelling, getting rid of the toxins. And isn't that crazy? So what I want to tell you, though, is to go back to my original, when I was telling the story of I had started getting this bad stomach ache in March. If it weren't for the plan, I would not know. I would still have an issue and not have a solution for it. But because in the plan, she says, before you start this, test yourself for yeast overgrowth. And I was like, what? I didn't know what yeast overgrowth was. I had just recently interviewed Ricky Heller, who is a Candida coach, and Candida is one of the primary forms of yeast. And it was so funny because I was suffering from this when I interviewed her, and I never even told her about my stomach ache. And here she probably could have helped me. And so you do this simple test. And the simple test is, I will tell you right now, it was very easy. You eat balsamic vinegar, which I always have that in my salad every day with extra virgin olive oil. So it was very easy to combine those two things and have my normal salad. So you just have to ingest some balsamic vinegar, wine, and chocolate all in the same day. And within a 24-hour period. And then when you wake up the next morning, you stick your tongue out and you see if your tongue is coated white. And if it's coated white, then you have a yeast overgrowth issue. And what you do is you just take some probiotics, and they're over the counter, super easy to buy. So, and they have to be between 30 and 50 billion. I think they're 30 billion cultures. I think it's called cultures. And I took one a day for 7 days and felt so much better, but I'm still taking them. So I take a probiotic every day because I do not want that yeast to come back. And you know what yeast loves? Sugar. Sugar is yummy, yummy, yummy. And it just feeds on sugar and keeps growing. And so you want some bacteria and yeast in your stomach, but you don't want it like going crazy and overgrowing. And our digestive system is very interesting. And I also found out that if you're getting sick a lot, it's your gut, because your gut is like, if your gut isn't healthy, then it compromises your immune system. I got into this lengthy discussion with this guy at Whole Foods who was super knowledgeable about all of their supplements. But he was telling me, your immune system is compromised right now because, you have a gut issue. All of the attention is going to your gut to help solve that problem. And it's neglecting, those cold germs that it should be fighting or whatever. Those, kept getting back-to-back colds because of that. So I am now on this probiotic and on the plan, and I feel so much better. It's like a 180 of change in just the 10 days that I'm going into day 11 tomorrow. So I wanted to get this message out there because if anybody out there is struggling with losing weight, your problem is probably that you're eating the wrong foods. You're eating foods that your body is reacting to and is causing you to hold on to that weight. And so just eliminating those foods, and it doesn't mean that you can't ever have those foods. It's awareness, number one. And number two is you can have those foods, but you just have to know, if you're trying to lose weight, that the days you have those foods are not going to be a weight loss day. Isn't it great to have these tools and this knowledge to explain why the scale isn't budging and why it's so frustrating? And now you're armed with a little bit of knowledge, and now if you go get the plan and do this, you will have your list of foods that are almond butter I'm fine on. Rye is the first grain that you test. Well, I did have basmati rice. You can have basmati rice. I think that's on day 3. But you can have chicken on day 3 too. So it's not the cleanse, I will say, my body was detoxing, definitely detoxing, but I never was hungry. It was all food, lots of food, soup, salads, vegetables. But I will say to you, if you're hearing this and you're thinking, "Ooh, I don't like salad," or "Ooh, I don't like vegetables," you can learn to like this, because your body is you need to cleanse your body from the processed food you're eating, from the sugar you're eating. It's just friggin' not good for you. And you know, even cancer cells like sugar. Everybody likes sugar. Everything likes sugar. We all like sugar, but it's not good for us. Natural sugar, you know, like honey and agave. She even said stevia, and I've been drinking stevia for ever since I quit artificial sweeteners about 5 years ago. But stevia, she said, is known to limit weight loss or negatively impact weight loss. So that is my episode for today. I hope you have found this interesting, and I hope that you do some research and become your own scientist. So anyways, thank you so much, and Merry Christmas.